Hey folks, Triple Crown here, coming to you from Vancouver, British Columbia. This is a round 4 summary. We'll get into it right away. The Germans, well, they're gambling a little bit, and it may have paid off. Well, not entirely, but we'll go over that right now, and we'll see what happened in round 3. So, the biggest event was the Germans decided not to attack the Russians because that would have given the Americans a +10 for their economy, which meant they needed to roll a 4 or less and they would be in the war. And the Germans, the Italians, and the Japanese wanted to keep the Americans out for another turn, so they didn't. But the Russians only needed to roll an 11 to join the war on their end. So guess what they rolled? They rolled an 11, of course. So they were able to declare a war on the European Axis at the end of their turn, which negated the use of the Barbarossa. But however, it kind of backfired a little bit because they had they could have put whatever force they decided to put here, unless it was everybody. That meant the Italians were going to be able to can open, and whatever force they stacked here, one space behind, it didn't matter if they brought the entire farm, the Germans could have wiped it out with their fast movers. And that was basically everything here except their infantry and heavy artillery, which was more than enough to completely destroy it. And so Russia decided to back up everything back to Moscow to be safe. So, which means they're not going to be able to make a strong push probably for Orly Kursk and make a stand here. They're going to have to make their stand in Moscow, which is going to make it tougher for them to counterattack and stay afloat. And something else is the Germans had a large stack of about 12 units sitting in Valpuri, and the only thing the Russians can do to take it back, which they felt they needed to because they have a major factory here they needed to protect in Karelia, was to send in all of their fast movers, or all of the fast movers that could make it. And they won that battle. However, they're going to lose them on the following subsequent turn. The Germans are going to wipe it out, which means the Russians are going to be very limited. They're only going to have a few armor left on the board and a couple aircraft, 4 aircraft in total now, and that's it. So the Russians, they made 54 IPP last turn because they were at war. They got an NO bonus, but the Germans are coming next turn, and it does not look good. The Italians, you can see here, they did a can opener. They've taken the 2 territories of Bessarabia and Western Ukraine. But it wasn't all fantastic for the Italians. The Italians lost Tobruk that turn, and they also are now being convoy rated for 3 IPP in this box. And next turn, Turkey is now pro-ally, so it can be annexed. The British and the Commonwealth were able to, well, first they have the entire Middle East now in their control, so that's an NO bonus. They have the Northern Africa regions in their control, so that's an NO bonus. And they also have a new NO bonus, which is a Commonwealth bonus, which is to have a minimum of 8 transports on the board, and they do. So currently, that's another 5 NO bonus, so we'll get into that in a second. But the Canadians have liberated the coastal territory of Rio de Oro. Now, this is something new that came up that I had not. So there actually was some submarines here that were Vichy, and so the Allies were able to go through and liberate this territory here without having a fight for that sea zone. So at least for now, it kind of makes sense that if you liberate a Vichy territory and there is Vichy boats in the water and your allies, does that mean they get liberated, or does that mean you have to roll for them? I'm saying now they become liberated and they rejoin as Free French forces, so that's what's happening there. Well, because Germany rolled the dice to keep America out of the war, they do have one unit along these 7 territories along the Atlantic Wall, and they have a coastal gun. They've got a couple of hedgehogs, but they did not build a navy last turn. They felt, hey, we're going to kill Russia, so they've only have 4 submarines on the board. And the Allies, well, they are amassing a substantial navy over here. They now have a couple naval transports here. We've got 3 here, that's 5, and then 8 with another 3 over here. They did build another factory here in Upper Egypt, so the first time I've seen this happen where you've got 2 minor factories in North Africa. But the Allies now, America rolled. So what did America roll? They needed to roll I think it was a 14 or higher to be in the war. Well, guess what they rolled? They rolled a 5. So America is still out of the war, and there's no guarantees. Well, there's no guarantees that they're gonna get in next turn. So that's gonna be very interesting. They built a battleship, a couple transports. The surface fleet of the Russians and the Canadians and the British now is almost impenetrable. Over here in China and Southeast Asia, the Japanese, they're wanting to hold on to Calcutta, so they just stayed put for another turn. They did branch out a little bit and took Bangladesh and Burma, which now that they have Burma, they're able to go into Sichuan or Yunnan next turn. They did take Hong Kong, which is also a 10 NO bonus or 5 NO bonus for Hong Kong and Singapore, and they got diced a little bit. They went in with 2 infantry into Sumatra, defending 2, and then their entire air force, about 4 or 5 planes, and the Sumatrans or the Dutch scored 2 hits, so there's nobody left there. The Australians, they built a military base in, what is that? In East Indies. And the Japanese are putting their naval presence on the Australians, so they backed up to New Zealand. However, these fleets now, minus this carrier, are almost matched in size, so the Japanese are going to have to continue to build navy or send navy down here if they want to project power onto the Australians or this Australian-British fleet. The Chinese up here in China, I think they've got about 28 units in total on the board. The British, now another little wrinkle here is until the Axis powers, this is a new rule, control either Leningrad or Stalingrad, the Allies cannot go on Russian soil. So the British, they're kind of waiting to go help out their brothers over there. The CCP came and took Chahar. If you're wondering why the KMT is not making a mad push for the coast, well, that is because currently the Japanese have their 8 naval transports sitting up here off of Shanghai, and they built a whole bunch of ground units next turn. They're going to come land on the mainland. So it's a fool's errand. They're better off, at least at this point, to stay alive. And it's not going to be before long until the Japanese spring out and start slowly pushing west to push back the KMT. America built a couple fighters over here on the coast to go land on this carrier, and Japan did not spend much on Navy last turn. So that is it for round 4. Stay tuned for round 5, folks, coming up very soon.